There will always be monsters. We can't let them go unchallenged. Or why get up in the morning and face the world? Hello everyone, I am Casey Inkwell. Welcome to my channel. Today I bring to you Everafter Song, the last part of the Evermore trilogy. Let's go through a summary of the story at once. In the previous two books, the main character Everly meets her fated lover Jamison during her hunt for the villain Markham, who had killed her family and left her to dead when she was little. Everly makes some friends, goes through several adventures, discovers the hidden world from folklore, gains guidance from the gods, but still fails to capture or kill Markham. In the third book, she copes with the death of her uncle Holden O'Shea, who was the helmsman of Father Time and a very crucial person in the universe. Holden was murdered by Markham, who now possesses the mystic hourglass which can bypass time and space, giving him the ability to travel to any world and any instance of time, except the one where he actually wants to go. Everly and her friends are now wanted criminals in their country wide, so they have to remain hidden in Jamison's houses. Jamison's marriage with Everly was never discovered, and his title of the Earl was also reinstated upon his father's death, so he is able to provide protection to all of his friends. The respite, however, does not last, as Markham shows up at Jamison's store one day and requests Everly to accompany him somewhere. As unbelievable as this request was, Everly agrees at once and spirit jumps with Markham, who takes her to many places, and Everly witnesses the power of the hourglass that Markham had stolen from her uncle after killing him. Markham takes Everly to the Black Forest, where the giants from centuries ago were slumbering underground. He reveals his intention to awaken the giants so they may finish the war from centuries past and help establish the natural hierarchy of the species in the seven worlds. Everly confronts Markham in spirit form and manages to injure him with her sword, but Markham escapes. Later on, a massive tree grows up near Jamison's estate, reaching high into the sky. It was a sky tree from the legends which allowed travel between any two worlds. Since the gates of the silver-clouded plains were locked, Markham devised this classic method to reach there. Everly, Jamison, and Osric decide that they must chase Markham to the silver-clouded plains to stop him from obtaining or doing whatever he wants up there. But they need a guide to survive in the giants' world, so for that reason they have to travel back to the land under the wave to find Captain Redmond and Neely, the only two giants they knew who could help them, despite them not being on friendly terms with either of them. But the Elf Queen had arrived with her soldiers and forbade them from making any moves. She admits that it's her responsibility to deal with her brother, and then she confines Everly and others in Jamison's estate, her guards keeping watch over them. She returns to the land of promise, leaving her commander in charge of tracking down Markham. Everly and others do not trust the elves as they have repeatedly failed to capture Markham and they have no idea what he is doing or what his next plan would be. Plus, Everly and Jamison wants to capture Markham and turn him over for his crimes committed in the land of the living so that they may prove their innocence to their evil queen, all in order to live together a normal happy life. Thus, they dupe the elven soldiers and sneak into the land under the wave, only to discover that it has been completely dominated by the fish people, who are allied to Markham. The Marrows have fled to the land of the living according to their deal with Markham, who offered them the seas of that world. Redmond and his crew has been captured by the fish people, Everly frees them and goes back to the portal that leads to their world. They are rescued from the chasing fish people by the portal guards, allied to Father Time, who in turn has been offering peace treaty to Everly since several months. Everly had actually been upset with Father Time because he had not saved any of the people who were important to Everly. He didn't even protect his own helmsman Holden O'Shea. About this, eventually, Father Time explains that he does not interfere with anyone. It is his solemn duty to remain impartial. Everly cannot forgive him, but for the time being, she takes aid from him, obtains information, and continues her journey for the silver clouded plains. Father Time had told Everly that what Markham wants is to find the artisan who made the violin for creator goddess Ioka several centuries ago, through which she had played the Everafter Song and put the giants to sleep. Everly returns to the land of the living with others and rests for a while in the house where Webina, Alec, and Quinn had been hiding. There were difficulties ahead, even the elven soldiers, the human soldiers, and the mystical creatures that the elven guard had appointed to stop anyone from climbing the sky tree. The elves had been putting hurdles in Everly's path all along in the name of doing duty. Dodging them wasn't easy, nor the human soldiers either. After a difficult skirmish, only Everly and Neely managed to climb up the sky tree and reach the silver clouded plains. It had been decades since Neely had seen his homeland. He was overwhelmed with emotions. Neely had been injured during the climb, and Everly's injuries dealt by an unknown shadowy creature during one of her spirit jumps had reopened. Everly and Neely get separated because of the elves hunting them down instead of chasing Markham. Um, this is what elves do. Everly manages to get away and reach Neely's house where his giant sisters actually hold her captive for several days. Obstinately unwilling to believe anything she tells them about her friendship with Neely and her quest to capture the elf prince. While Neely's sister wastes precious time, Markham gets a lead ahead of Everly. If he could find the artisan, he could force him to make another violin with which, playing the Everafter Song, Markham could awaken the giants of the Black Forest. Neely's sisters eventually believe Everly and help her find the artisan. Markham shows up too, having already made a deal with the artisan who obtains sky seeds from Markham in exchange of the violin. But at the last moment, the artisan betrays Markham and snatches all three things: the sky seed, the violin, and the hourglass. Everly joins in the brawl. Markham manages to get away with the violin, but Everly chases him. In the meantime, the elven guard catches up with Everly again and finally capture Markham. Everly, Markham, Neely, and his two sisters are brought to the land of promise where Jamison and Captain Redmond had already been brought over and were treated as guests, while Markham and Harlow were kept captives in the dungeons. The elves turned out to be arrogant racists who believe in their supremacy over humans, and they want humans to start working as their slaves again. It baffles Everly to no end. Everly makes better acquaintance with the Elven Queen, who is Markham's sister, and learns much about Markham's past in the Land of Promise. Surprisingly, majority of the Elven populace supports Markham and sees him as their real ruler. Everly is asked to be a witness during Markham's trial. The trial turns out to be a horrendous display of corrupted elven justice. Eventually, not only is Markham set free, but he is also allowed to murder his sister, the Queen. Markham takes away the violin and the hourglass and goes to the land of the living. Everly is hard-pressed to chase after him with Jamison and Osric. Things continue to get worse. The ancient army of giants awakened, the kingdom of humans suffers from massacres, the marrows wreak havoc on the coast, the trinity of gods continue to weaken. Everly can only face danger head-on with the aid of a small army comprised of mystical beings from the Everwoods and some of the elves loyal to the deceased queen. Will Everly win the war and put an end to Markham's madness, or will she fail and witness destruction of everything that she cherishes? You can find out by reading the Everafter Song. The story of this trilogy finally comes to an end, and I would say that this is a really good book and I am glad to have read it. The only thing that bothers me is that if Everly had accepted her gifted powers as the Time Bearer, she could have stopped Markham earlier and would not have had to witness so many deaths that happen in the story. Now the elves in this story, they are quite something. They are the most pig-headed people ever, and all of their actions have repeatedly proven counterproductive. The author Emily R. King has done a remarkable job at sculpting the characters, showcasing narratives and prejudices and violence. Overall, I would say is that it's a remarkable story, thankfully brought to the world for historical fantasy and adventure lovers. I highly recommend this book to everyone, and by now I have finished reading every single book written by Emily R. King, and she is my favorite author now. Although Rachel Terry, she is new and she has some ways to go, but she is quickly catching up. I mean, she has been improving by leaps and bounds with every new book of hers. Regardless, for now, Emily R. King, top of the line. Anyways, I hope you liked this review, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.